Hey guys, welcome to the channel. As you see in the thumbnail, what if Naruto met Vampire King and become one? Before I start, please do support for more awesome content, and subscribe my channel and like this video. Go support and follow the Chasir cat for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story. Link in the description. Bloody Nocturne 1. Red Night. A dark night, so dark and charmless, without anything but unfathomable darkness stretching its never-ending claw farther and farther every minute as the night grew old. Night wind blew from place to place, taking along the gloomy colored clouds to shroud the pale crescent moon that seemed to lose its life light. The darker the night was, the darker the human's heart got. Those frightening imaginations that were so widely said were just imaginations sprung out of the blue-black to life. Blood, flesh and bones. Fear. That was what installed in one's nature. But how many people out there that knew the real meaning of fear? Quick, hurried footsteps were heard echoing through the long, dark street. A young blonde boy ran as if there was no tomorrow, trying to save his own life. Even though the weather was cold like that of the winter, he didn't stop sweating until the back of his shirt was soaked. Running, that was the only thing the boy had in mind. No matter how exhausted he got, no matter how those muscles in his legs seemed to scream for him to stop, he wouldn't, for he knew what might befall his being if he did. He would surely end up dead. The blonde boy panted heavily. The weather was dry, it was hard to breathe, but he didn't have any thought of stopping. He was tired to death, but the black shadow chasing after him showed no sign of ever tiring, as if it was having fun watching its prey run about frantically, and when the prey was tired it would go in for the kill. But did he have a choice? Not at all. What he had just seen made a frightened chill run down his spine. If he were to be dead, he would rather choose to be tired to death than that. Let him flee until he ran out of breath than that. Running, the young boy didn't stop. Perspiration trickled down his forehead into his cerulean blue eyes, making the vision all blurry that he didn't notice a tall figure standing solemnly before him. Thud. Watch it, will you? The said figure said, raising his slender hand to block the running boy from causing any greater impact. The blond one was still in panic, and he whirled back to see if the hunter was still after him. Yet there was no sign of that demon, only a raven-haired stranger that seemed to appear at the right time and unintentionally saved him. Sorry. Now that he was sure he was in no danger, the blond boy turned to have a good look at his savior. He was a young boy around his age, but there was something about him that made him seem more mature than he looked. "'Tis all right. Just watch where you are going next time," the raven-haired stranger said, a small smirk playing on his thin lips. As if the darkest hour had finally passed, the whistling wind then chased away the clouds, letting the moon back to show its face. Pale moonlight, even so weak and feeble, did its job, clasping the dark realm again with its soft glow, coaxing the wavering heart of fear gently. And from what the blond boy saw in that moonlight was about to make his heart stop beating. The boy he had met looked as if he wasn't the creature of this world. His skin was so pale, paler than anyone he had ever seen in his entire life, as pale as the moonlight itself. His eyes were as black as the night without any light a moment before, and that small arrogant smirk on those lips. The young blonde found himself blushing hotly and uncontrollably. At that moment, as if he was under a spell of the night, he was unable to tear his eyes away from the sight. He didn't even know when the other had moved in so close that he could feel the other's warm breath on his bare skin. His heart was beating so fast he thought he could hear it in his ears, and he would have stayed there just to feel the other boy's presence if he hadn't looked into the eyes of that boy. The blond boy felt every strand of his hair stand on end. Those eyes, they weren't of any human being this close. He could clearly see his own reflecting in those eyes, as red as blood. The young blonde gave a start, and quickly took a few steps back. Yet he was in such a hurry that didn't notice some stones and tripped. Wah! Abruptly, one strong arm shot out and supported him just in time before he fell. "Didn't I say watch where you are going?" the raven-haired boy said, amused. "Let go of me!" the smaller boy yelled, trying to get himself out of that embrace. "You don't have to be that loud, you know?" With that, the taller one let go of the protester. His odd eyes now returned to their normal black, the same color as his hair. At this time of the night, it's unlikely for anyone, especially a clumsy one like you, to run around. You should go home already, he said before disappearing at the corner of the quiet street. Wait! The blond boy called, weak legs running after the mysterious boy. Yet when he rounded the corner all he could see was an empty street, no sign of any presence. It could be just a dream, or illusion, yet the feeling of that warm breath on his skin, that was no dream. Those eyes, was it just me or? The boy wondered, standing still. The same redness as blood, was it just his stupid imagination out of fear? Footstep. Someone was coming near. The blue-eyed boy quickly turned to look behind him. Was it the hunter coming back after him again? He tried to run, but his tired muscles didn't seem to move. A sharp pain he felt emitting from his calves even made itself known clearer. He couldn't escape. The young boy slid to the ground, closing his eyes. He couldn't escape his fate. The footstep was coming nearer and nearer, nearer and nearer, and finally, it stopped. Are you all right? Did they do anything to you? A calm voice asked, causing the young boy to open his eyes. There, before him, was a tall man dressed in a strangely fashioned outfit with hair the color of quicksilver. In his hand was an even stranger than his outfit-looking equipment, yet what caught the blond boy's eyes the most was his eyes. One was of an ordinary human, but the other one, it was the same red color as he had seen in the raven-haired boy he had just met a while before. Gathering the last of his strength, the tired boy asked, "Who are you? Ha ha ha, you think I will really believe that joke? Jesus, that's the best one I've ever heard." Ha! The blue-eyed blonde laughed loudly as if he couldn't control his laughter, having heard the funniest thing in his life. The silver-haired man who had just introduced himself as Hatake Kakashi shook his head. "I don't care if you believe it or not, Naruto-kun. All I can say is that your life is in great danger," he said, readjusting his eye patch a little. What was hidden behind the eye patch wasn't what ordinary human should see. "You have just felt it yourself, the taste of fear. This ramen is so great. Thank you for treating, I guess." Naruto suddenly changed the topic. He couldn't just make himself believe what Kakashi had just said out that fast, even with his fresh experience. So that boy's the image of the raven-haired boy he met earlier flashed in his mind. Does vampire really exist? Naruto-kun. Kakashi was about to call the boy back when the blonde settled to leave, but considering that no matter what he said it was no use, he decided to let the boy go. Tomorrow is a moonless night. Those creatures will surely come back after their prey. His one visible eye narrowed. I'll have to keep an eye on him. Enchanting music echoed against the smooth surface of expensive marble before fading into the silence of the night. Long, slender fingers danced skillfully along the keyboard, creating a bittersweet song that was played over and over again 100 times, 1,000 times. It was painfully beautiful all the same, singing its mournful tone to the night alone, telling about the so longed for beautiful sun, the same sun that was hated. Where have you been, Sasuke? The melody ended as soon as its player spoke, when a large bat with velvety black wings flew in through the high window before resting itself on the grand piano's keyboard, emitting an annoyingly high-pitched sound. Just the usual walking around, brother. The form of the large bat faded, turning into golden mist before forming into a shape of a raven-haired beauty, the exact same one Naruto had met on the street, sitting cross-legged on the keyboard. The echoing sound the piano gave was annoyingly horrible due to the more weight being pushed down on it. Your piano skills still as good as ever. Seems like you're in a good mood. Found something interesting out there? The older one asked, his face deadpanned as if he didn't hear the noisy sound his younger brother caused. Well, yeah? Sasuke gave a small smile. I did find something. That something was definitely someone. Those low-class vampires thought they can have my prey. How absurd. You're so quiet, brother. Jealous? With that, the younger one spread his slim legs apart, wounding them around his brother's waist. The older one didn't wait, and sank his fangs into the snow-white throat. The smaller one cried, tilting his head back to grant the other a better access. Soon black blood was seen trickling down from the small wounds there. Itachi, Sasuke, didn't I tell you that the hunter is now in this town? Itachi said in a monotonous voice, yet those blood-red eyes of his spoke clearly of raging anger. Sasuke shivered as he saw that while the older one continued ravishing his pale flesh. Aha, hunter, this word was previously used to represent them, vampires, the creatures of the night, the hunter of humans' sweet blood. Yet recently, a lot of vampires had been hunted instead by one single human, a man with silver hair. In the silence of the vast ruin of their unholy castle, all they could hear was the erotic chime of gasps and moans, along with incoherent melody coming from the piano. Albert the younger vampire panted heavily. But you don't think that the hunter is stronger than you, do you, brother? A high-class vampire like you. Itachi went silent for a while before replying. A human is still a human. No matter how strong they are, they still have flaws. He trailed his sharp fangs along the younger vampire's flesh slowly. But we are in no need to rush. Striking first, Demon Red eyes narrowed. He'll come to us himself. No matter how much we try, we cannot reach. O golden sun and rosy dawn, how many nights have we mourned, just to feel you? Bloody nocturne too, the sun and the sky. How many people believe in sunny day? Believe that under this endless sky where the sun shines so bright, smiling down upon this same solid earth, everything will be alright. Could he believe that everything that had happened the night before was just a dream? The taste of fear he had felt running down his spine and overwhelming his body was still fresh in his memory. He couldn't pretend as if it was nothing. You just couldn't call it entirely nightmare. Under the same blue sky, how many people could honestly say that they have met the creature that once was believed to be only on fairy tale? And how many out of those individuals could still act normally, lively and cheerful, when they are targeted as prey? Your life's now in great peril. Woot! Woot! The sound of the enormous steam engine roared loudly, suppressing the noisy babble of people walking along the crowded street. A young blonde teen stood, as still as a stone, as if in trance. Even with the loud wooting of the train that sang over and over again, he didn't seem to hear it at all. Woot! Woot! The great black train bellowed again, yet the blonde boy was still motionless. Whack! Ow! Finally, after standing oh so perfectly still and soundless, the young blonde cried out, feeling the precise hit on his now swollen head. He spun around to see what or rather who dared do the damage, raising his fist up threateningly. What the hell was that for? A small boy standing behind him pouted. Why, Naruto-Nizan, you're so quiet today. It doesn't suit you. The colorful umbrella in his grip was a good proof of his little crime. Ahaha. Sorry, Konohamaru. I was just thinking. Naruto laughed dryly, his lips promptly forming their usual trademark smile in return of the younger boy's accuse. Naruto-Nizan, Konohamaru's gaze fixed on the older boy's face as he stared incredulously at him. I didn't know you are able to think. Whack! Naruto whacked the potty-mouthed boy back on the head. You should know who you're messing with, kid, he said, rolling up his sleeves. There's no way I'm backing off today. Prepare yourself, Naruto-Nizan. Konohamaru raised his weapon, aka umbrella. And soon the two boys found themselves busily engaging in comical smoke of a friendly fight, sending dirt and dust flying everywhere. Some people, especially those noble and rich, just shook their heads and walked past them without giving them a second glance, while most ordinary people formed a circle around them, watching their little fight with amusement. A tall man, dressing all in black, along with sunglasses, looked left and right nervously. Where did his naughty little master go? He was so fast. But then his eyes became so wide it was frightening when he spotted his little master jumping around, swaying his hand wildly in the air as he tried to fire an accurate fist at the older boy. Naruto-Nizan! I dare you not to dodge! I dare you! Konohamaru challenged. His expensive clothes were now dirty beyond cleaning. Little master! The sunglasses-wearing man squeaked high-pitchedly, running toward the two, causing the formed circle to split. The two fighters stopped and turned at the voice. Pya! Ebisu! Konohamaru jumped when he saw his strict butler, a twisted smile. Ebisu readjusted his sunglasses slightly, trying not to twitch so much as for he didn't want to ruin his so-called gentlemanness. Little master, the train is leaving in a few minutes. What are you doing with this poor and good-for-nothing kid? His eyes took in the dirt on Konohamaru's clothes with distaste. Look, your nice clothes are all dirty. If your grandfather in heaven knew, he would be so disappointed. Naruto-Nizan isn't good for nothing, Konohamaru retorted. Whenever I'm with him it's much more fun than staying at home. So why his once firm voice soon turned into a sob. This is why I think we should move from this boring town. So many poor uneducated kids, and then the recent bad news. The butler looked at Naruto, who was gritting his teeth in disgust. Woot! Woot! The large engine whooped again. Let's go now, little master. Or else we will miss the train. Ebisu said, dragging Konohamaru with him by his collar. Let me go! Konohamaru tried to get away, but no matter how violently he fought, Ebisu didn't let go. The young boy kicked and trashed vehemently. Still, Ebisu didn't let go. Tears began to fall from Konohamaru's eyes. In this rotten society of feudal criteria, the space between the rich and the poor were so far apart. In this small town, even having all those slaves and servants to grant him things, the young noble's life had never been happy. It was so colorless, like the street's gray dust that floated lifelessly in the wind. But then his tedious childhood had become lively once again when he came to know of a certain blond boy. A boy that, even if he was poor, still had the brightest smile that held no deception. A boy he respected as if he were his blood-bound older brother. No matter what terrible things had happened, Naruto Nizan never gave up. Konohamaru bit Ebisu's hand hard. The butler gave a start, and cried out in pain, immediately released the young boy in the process. Konohamaru didn't wait but ran straight back to Naruto. Little master! Ebisu hurriedly ran after him. That's enough, Konohamaru, Naruto said, placing a hand on the boy's head. A grown-up man shouldn't cry, you know. If you don't stop crying, there's no way you will win against me. You still want to win, eh? He gave Konohamaru a big Naruto-ish smile. On hearing that, Konohamaru gave another small sob. He swallowed and tried to stop crying. I heard that the town you're moving to have a new amusement park, haven't it? It sounds a lot better than this boring place, so what are you crying for? If you miss me, we can always contact by letter, or you can visit me here. I won't go anywhere. A familiar smiley so warm and bright as if this world had nothing to fear. Naruto Nizan's never down nor gives up. Konohamaru quickly wiped the tears away, his hand reaching for something in his pocket. Here, have this. It's a gift. The boy forced himself to smile back, although his face and ears were still red from crying so hard. Next time we meet, I'll be a better man. Even better than you, and I will win. With that, Konohamaru turned to Ebisu, who was now wiping his heartfelt tears with his white-laced handkerchief of gentlemanness. Let's go, Ebisu. Good luck. Naruto waved them goodbye. Woot! Woot! The steam engine gave its last roar before all the doors were closed, and the strong metal wheels began to spin. Steam filled the platform before the great black train went off along its long, long trail, soon disappearing from the sight. Gone! 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 The giant platform's clock told everyone there that it was noon. Naruto let out a long sigh. Konohamaru had gone. Now this great town was even more boring than before. Even though he was quite accustomed to those names and insults the others called him, but it didn't go unhurt. Naruto had to admit envied those boys and girls his age that had their parents to take care of and have fun with their lives. Unlike him, all an orphan like him could do was finding jobs for money and acting funny and stupid to cheer himself up. You're so quiet today. It doesn't suit you. Why am I so depressing? Telling Konohamaru like that, and I'm the one being depressed myself? Man, that was stupid. The blond boy shook his head, getting rid of all those depressing thoughts. There are so many hours left before the work starts. What should I do? A certain silver-haired man lied peacefully on a branch, under shady canopies of leaves. He was in deep sleep, it seemed. Whoosh! An apple's core, left from eating, flew from the ground toward the sleeping man with all its horrific sinister intent. Yet it didn't hit its target. The man, even with both eyes closed, one was under an eye patch, quickly grabbed it with one of his hands before it could do him any harm. Didn't know you'll be the one coming to me first, Naruto-kun. Just Naruto is fine. The blond boy said, throwing another apple, this time unbitten, at him. Okay. Then Naruto, what do you want from me now that you disturbed my beauty sleep? Another ramen treat? Or are you interested in this wonderful book I'm reading? Kakashi asked, showing Naruto the said book with the large text Ika Ika Paradise on the cover. Naruto stared at the book for a big silent moment before he finally let out a firm no. That boring book, why would I be interested? Even if you gave me for free, I wouldn't. But he grinned. If you're going to treat me ramen, then that's another story. Kakashi raised his eyebrows. You're easily familiar with people. We have just met yesterday and you trust me already? You may look weird, but you don't seem that bad. Besides, you treated me ramen last night. Anyone who treats another ramen can't be a bad guy. Ha! And Naruto stopped laughing. Baby blue eyes became dull for a moment. I want to listen to more vampire stories from you. Kakashi's only visible eyes narrowed. He still couldn't bring himself to fully believe it, but still, you fear it, don't you? Do I look like a storyteller that much? Naruto grinned. Not that much. Kakashi left the branch and soon he was down on the ground without making even a small rustle on the lush green grass. Alright. But no ramen today, kid, Naruto pouted. Kakashi-san, you're so stingy. So many people were in the bar, filling the night with their interesting conversation of different languages. Working here gave him a better chance to meet different people from different places, but there was still one thing that he hated most. Naruto frowned as he saw a group of people trying to court an unwilling girl. Those rich people, no matter how nice they dressed or pretended to be gentlemen outdoor when they were here, they were just dogs in heat, to put it simply. They thought money could buy everything and treated the poor like they weren't human. And when the lower people didn't follow what they asked, then it became the matter of using force. How disgusting. But even though how much he hated it, he could do nothing. What could a poor bartender like him do? All he could was just watch and pity, and do his job for the night. A glass of red wine, ordered a smooth voice. And the blonde boy would lifelessly do his job like a mute puppet as always if he didn't hear the following sentences. The finest and reddest one. But I would especially prefer if it's real blood. Cerulean eyes suddenly grew wide with shock as he saw who his customer was. What? You look as if you had seen a ghost. A certain raven-haired boy asked with a smug smirk. Are you that scared, little boy? He chuckled softly and Naruto wasn't pleased. The young bartender scowled. Okay, he admitted that he was scared at first, but now? Oh no. He wanted nothing but to punch that annoying smirk off that beautiful face. Who are you calling little? You don't look that older than me. That means you're underage and try to look cool by drinking alcohols. Che. Rich boys and their attitude, Naruto said, glaring, yet he was still unsure if this raven-haired beauty was really human or not. Who says I'm the same age as you? I may not look like it, but I think I'm even older than your grandfather, maybe? The mysterious boy said, pale hand reaching out to grab the blonde bartender's chin. For me, drinking wine is nothing. Do you want to know what I really like? Long, slender fingers traced the soft cheeks slowly as their eyes were locked together. The raven-haired boys gazed fixed on the other's face for a long moment, that seemed like eternity, as he took in every detail those sun-ed wild locks, those deep blue orbs. Everything was clearly reflected in his eyes, the sun and the sky. The raven-haired boy whispered softly as if talking to himself. Enticing lips slightly parted as if luring the other to steal a. Naruto blushed hotly. This was the second time that this boy looked as if he was going to him. And if he hadn't seen those strange red eyes the previous night, his first would have fallen victim to this beauty. Thud. 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 Eat these garlic first, you crazed vampire. Naruto, still blushing, quickly grabbed some garlic lying there and threw it at the crazed vampire. Naruto! How could you do that to the customer? The bar master was about to preach him, but suddenly, a loud scream was heard from outside. Pray, Naruto! How could you do that to the customer? The bar master scolded loudly, striding toward the young bartender with quick paces. Yet before he could say anything more than that, a blood-curdling scream rang from the outside, stunning everyone in the bar. Is this? Blue eyes widened as Kakashi's words echoed in his ears. For vampires, if their prey runs away once, they won't stop following until they get them. The thump. The thump. The thump. His heart beat faster and faster. Actually, there's no need for them to hunt every night. In fact, one drink could last for a month. Those often seen out hunting for prey are just doing it for fun. The more the prey becomes frightened, the more fun it is for them. Especially in a moonless night. The thump. The thump. The thump. It won't stop hunting. Help-y. Wham! Shit! Naruto cursed out loudly, kicking the chair that stood in his way aside. The story is true? Naruto! Where are you going? The young bartender paid his master's call no heed. Among the chaotic panic of the people in there, the blonde boy ran and quickly let himself out of the bar. And as soon as he slammed the old wooden door shut, rusty joint making a scary creaking noise. The blond boy felt like he had entered into another world. The night breeze whistled, its coolness piercing into his bones, and the sky was so dark, totally opposite of the warm, brightly lit bar he had just come out of. In this eerie atmosphere of absolutely still darkness, there was one thing that became more and more vivid, not so different from the night before: the scent of fresh blood. The young boy closed his eyes, hand balling into tight fists. If the real prey the vampire wanted was really him, then, hey! Naruto gave a start when he felt someone's hand on his shoulder. He snapped his eyes open and turned. What are you doing? That familiar smooth voice that he was so pissed at, and that pretty face that he so wanted to punch some minutes earlier. Those garlic are too old and hard like rocks. No doubt they hurt anyone they hit. The raven-haired boy ran a hand through his hair. If you want to sell garlic, next time choose newer ones. You, Naruto, who was still in his mid-throwing stance, immediately paused as a painful truth stabbed him. Oh, the real pain of being poor at bites. Yet before Naruto could say anything, the other spoke first. You come out alone again. Haven't I told you that it's dangerous? Blue eyes narrowed at the boy standing right before him. You're the one that's dangerous. He then took a step back, the garlic still in tight grip. What are you really? A human or? The word vampire stuck in his throat as the blond boy took another step back. And what do you think? The other asked back, stepping closer to his prey with calm and sure pace. I, as you see here, am a humaner. His obsidian eyes fixed on the boy, who kept backing and backing away from him until his back hit the solid door. For Naruto, he had never felt so helpless before in his life. And now he finally got to know the real meaning of the word getting cornered. A vampire? Warm breath tickled the young bartender's sensitive earlobe, and wet tongue slowly made its trail down the outer trace, sending shiver down his spine as one pale hand covered his mouth to keep him from making any noise. The other hand ran down Naruto's arm and took the garlic, throwing it away. And soon, the slim hand on the blond boy's lips was replaced with a pair of soft, velvety lips. MMFFF. Naruto struggled, trying to push the taller boy away, but it was no use, as the seemed to be full of sweet poison that drained away his energy mercilessly. His knees buckled and he found himself unable to stand straight. Strong yet delicate-looking arms wound themselves around his waist, supporting him, and their owner's daring tongue pushed at his lips, forcing him to part his lips, allowing it to enter. Sasuke plundered the blonde teen's mouth, tasting the sweetness inside the hot cavern. The sweetness that was like the beautiful morning. He had forever deprived of this sweetness that he could taste on his tongue. Would it be like those fresh morning dews on the soft, colorful petals? And this warm touch of skin, did it feel like the golden sunlight that woke the blessed living things up every day? And the blue, blue sky that I've seen in your eyes. Has the sky ever been frightened? Blue, blue sky. Even though bright and lively, there were times that it became gloomy, shade altering into gray as rain fell like long sorrowful tears. Yet even if it was such, sky had never been frightened. The raven-haired boy slowly withdrew his lips, obsidian orbs never leaving the blond boy. Yet there was no more of that smug smirk on his thin lips. And no more seductive smile. He thought it was fun to see his prey so frightened. Thought it was fun hunting. But, are you afraid, Naruto? He asked, resting a finger on the other's freshly tasted lips. I won't kill you. He caressed the young teen's cheek lightly. Well, not when you taste so good like this. Smash, bastard. As if snapping out of his trance, Naruto gave the raven-haired boy his hardest punch in the face. So you're just a simple crazed bastard. I should have known. His eyes then caught the sight of the thrown-away garlic. Oh, not just that. You're one bad liar too. Older than my grandfather? Che. You don't even know my grandfather. Or if you want it clearer, I don't even know my own grandfather. Sunlight, why did you look so tortured? The brand new morning that always bright and lively, was it just a lie? The golden sunlight that brought new hope and happiness to every Oni. In fact, it was sadder than anything. Nice punch. Quite heavy. Black shade faded from obsidian orbs, bleeding into the reddest shade of unflickering flame. But still, not enough. Naruto froze. His aggression all faded into nothingness as he saw those red orbs. Who are you, really? The blond boy asked, his voice so soft like a whisper as he saw the other's nails lengthen more and more, looking like some beast's claw. Me? Just a crazed bastard who had nothing better to do than lying like you said. The vampire replied, walking closer and closer to his prey. Slash! Fresh blood stained the earth, painting the black shade of the night with blacker black as a spine-chilling scream filled the air. Naruto's eyes widened at the sight of another vampire's head being severely cut apart from its body. I told you that I won't kill you, the raven-haired vampire said plainly, foul blood dripping languidly from his claw. Drip. Drip. If the corpse of a blood-lost human looked deadly pale, the corpse of a vampire looked even more lifeless that it was scary. The reflection reflected in its lifeless red eyes was a picture of its marked prey that had escaped it the previous night. In this moonless night that it had hoped to hunt, it was the one that ended up deceased. Remember, Naruto, you're my prey. I won't let anyone take you, the raven-haired vampire said before darkness swallowed his feature, turning his shape into a large bat flying away from the clearing. This is... Kakashi frowned as he examined the body of the fallen vampire. Mismatched eyes looked closely at the cut that separated the head and the body, then down to the long gash of the claw mark. He frowned. He hadn't expected the vampires to kill one another. And it seemed this fallen one didn't even have time to retaliate. It was so obvious the other vampire was of the higher class. 123 vampires had been exterminated tonight. 2 out of 3 were his own doing, but the other one. His gaze then shifted to the blonde boy standing not far away from the last one's corpse. It was quite a miracle the boy was still alive given that such a high-class vampire used to be there. Naruto, are you alright? He then moved to check on the boy who was now as still as a stone statue. His gloved hand pulled at the boy's collar to check if there was a bite mark. There was none. How? A question popped in Kakashi's mind as the vampire hunter took off his cloak and put it around Naruto. But what was more puzzling was that the vampire hunting Naruto should be only one, but tonight all of these vampires seemed to be after him. Why? I'll walk you home, the silver-haired man finally said. You're my prey. He had said that if Naruto was really just a prey, he could have killed him off or sucked him dry by now. That moment he had tasted the sweetness of the blonde boy. He could have done anything he wanted. So did he let him go so easily? What's the matter, Sasuke? The older vampire asked his brother, who was now lying on his stomach on their king-size bed, chin rested on one hand. Black curtains rustled as they played with the night wind. You've been so quiet after coming back. Red blood was seen clearly through the small glass in the older one's hand as he lifted it up to his lips, feeling the warm, coppery taste. Aniki, Sasuke began, voice barely above whisper. His red eyes, as red as the warm liquid inside his brother's glass, reflected nothing in front of him but those misty memories of the long-gone past. So long that those days seemed unreal. How nice would it be if we had the sun and sky for ourselves? Itachi put his drinks down gently before moving toward his brother on the bed. His long black cloak swished, flying back and forth like dancing shadow as he walked. Moonless night, deprived of any light, even the slight reflection of the blazing sun, darker than any other night, and the wind that blew it seemed to never stop whispering about the sins of God's forsaken children, sending the silk curtain flying in every direction as 2 pairs of lips were sealed together in a fiery that was hotter than any flame from hell that burnt and licked at their sinful souls non-stop. Rough tongue danced and entwined together, exploring each other's teeth and mouth until the young ones found his brother's fangs that the older one clamped down. Blood seeped out from Sasuke's tongue and filled Itachi's mouth with a satisfying coppery taste. Yet the pain didn't seem to bother the younger one as he moaned into his brother's mouth, asking for more. Itachi's skillful fingers quickly undid his brother's buttons, revealing the snow-white flesh hidden under the shirt. He let his fingers dance freely on the uncovered flesh as if they were playing on the keyboard of last night. Sasuke didn't wait and helped his brother undo his clothes as well. Soon their heavy clothes were left uncaringly on the cold marble floor, and the 2 vampires were entangled together with passion. Ahanika, bite me, the younger one said huskily, pulling his brother's head toward his exposed throat. Bite me hard. Itachi licked the offered area so painfully slowly. Should I do as what you want and spoil you even more? His fingers played with one of the dusky nipples, emitting a loud moan from the younger one. When you just had to disobey me and go out again without permission. His other hand ran smoothly down the other's stomach, lower and lower. Ah! The younger one cried out as his older brother continued to torture him with his hand. Tell me, what's your reason in this? A picture of a certain TSUNADE boy flashed in his mind. A boy with hair the color of golden sun and eyes the color of beautiful cloudless blue sky. You're my prey. The fear he had seen in those blue eyes. Are you afraid, Naruto? The sky was never frightened letting him go. Because this fear of losing the sky forever then, could he still call him a prey? Was that blonde boy just a simple prey? I just want to obtain the sun and the sky. Sasuke replied, panting hard. Yet every word was said firmly and certainly. Gong! Gong! The night wind caused the golden bell on the town's great tower to chime, echoing from far away and gradually fading. The ringing sound, even if so faded like a slipping dream, still reminded him of the memory of that day. What make you hold on so tight with it? Unspeakable thoughts swam behind those demonic red eyes before they were locked away completely a moment after. You can do whatever you please with me, brother, the younger vampire said in a seductive voice, his hand caressing the older one's bare chest. Because, Itachi bit down on his brother's throat. Exactly what Sasuke had asked? Sasuke, this is the last time I'll let this slip, he said sternly. Because even if I tell the truth, you won't believe me, brother. Your smile, gentle breeze caused the old pallid curtain to ripple like languid waves on the water surface. Long-standing wooden windows, their joints were all rusty, creaked softly as if to welcome its dweller and the visitor home. In this small apartment the young bartender rented, there weren't so much furniture except for the old musty bed, a three-legged dresser and a chair that, thankfully, looked comfortable enough. Kakashi's gaze wandered around the room. Even though there was very little furniture in the room, it didn't make this small apartment look even more comfy. This little rat hole didn't deserve to be called home by anyone. The silver-haired man sighed deeply before dragging the one and only chair in the room to rest just beside the bed and took his seat. I'm sorry for being such a bad host, Kakashi-san, said Naruto a little too softly, feeling guilty that he had nothing to serve his guest as he dropped feebly on the bed. Hey, it's nothing. Don't bother. Besides, after everything, I think you need rest, Naruto. Just sleep. For tonight I'll be your personal guard for free, Kakashi said casually as he took out his favorite orange book of make-out legend. Naruto, after lying down on his back for a while, spoke up. Kakashi-san, the light isn't enough and you're still reading that book? Is it that interesting? Kakashi raised his eyebrow feigningly incredulously, half questioning, half joking. I thought you wouldn't read this oh-so-boring book even if I gave you for free. Changing your mind, eh? I never say I'm gonna read that. Naruto immediately sat up, throwing his pillow at the silver-haired vampire hunter. The hunter chuckled softly and caught the pillow so easily without looking with one hand and threw it back at its owner. Naruto stared at the pillow he had back in his hands and then at Kakashi. Wow, how did you do that? He asked, interested. Practice. Kakashi replied plainly, his gaze following the text in the line that seemed impossible to read in such darkness. Practice, he repeated in a much more inaudible voice that Naruto could have missed had the room not being so quiet that he could hear even the slightest sound of swaying leaves. The blonde boy grew silent for a moment before asking again in a cutting clear voice that echoed again and again in the listener's ears for a long while before the answer was given. Kakashi-san, why did you become a vampire hunter? It was a simple question, yet it caused the one being asked to turn mute as if being under a spell. The silver-haired man closed his eyes as well as the book in his hand that was slowly shut. Under the moonless night sky, sitting closed eyes on the old wooden chair, the image of the small room was bit by bit fading from his vision. Everything of the now that seemed unreal and the unforeseen future that was even darker soon converted into the picture of the bright past, bright, sunlit field with many shades and sweet scents of different flowers where the grasses grew tall. The field was so vast that it wouldn't be wrong to call it the grass sea. Among the bewitching colors of flower, in this so-called spring paradise, there came the familiar laughter, ringing from not so far away. The well-known laughter of the one he called best friend rang louder and louder as the source came nearer and nearer, so near that he could just reach out and touch him. His friend was there. Everything was so clear and bright, everything but his face that he couldn't see. His face and his smile. And then everything faded completely into blackness with the foul smell of blood. Kakashi-san? Kakashi slowly lifted his eyelids. One eye glowing with red, burning so vividly, fixed on the blonde boy in front of him. My best friend was killed by a vampire, the vampire hunter said in a voice that sounded strangely empty, punishing those killers for revenge. Judging those demons by his own right. The power that was granted in return of his self-sacrifice, destroying himself in the most unsightly way. All left him nothing but this path of destruction and the shell of emptiness as time flew by. The so longed for past could never return. There was only dark future and the fragments of memory that slowly faded piece by piece. Are you often inevitably charged as the guard for the other victims as well? Naruto chose to change the subject as he noticed the traumatic pain in those mismatched eyes. If it was something that was better left unspoken, then he wouldn't persist. What if I say you're the first? What made him so want to protect this boy whose eyes the color of the sky? You're easily familiar with people. We have just met yesterday and you trust me already? The feeling of being familiar with someone so close, someone so dear. Naruto gave him his trademark carefree grin. The grin that, though not matched with the serious topics, suddenly lightened the dreary atmosphere up. Then I hope you won't fail your first mission as a guard. That moment, the image of another boy was seen overlying the grinning blue-eyed blonde. A boy with jet black hair and deep obsidian eyes under a large odd-looking goggle. They were so different yet so similar. Why, isn't that so obvious? Their smiles were the same. Kakashi raised his eyebrow a little before offering the boy a warm smile. Certainly not. I guarantee you. At that moment, the fading picture had been repainted. This new picture wouldn't let it fade away like the last one never. Gone. 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 The giant clock in the town square told the time midnight, the darkest hour of the bygone night, and the beginning of new day. The blonde teen stirred a little and rolled to the side before slowly lifted one of his eyelids. The silver-haired man was still on the old chair and he might look like he was sleeping, but Naruto was positive the man was much more awake than he himself. Kakashi-san, the teen called, pulling his blanket up and moved closer to the wall. If you aren't reading that book now, sleeping here is much more comfortable, he said, patting the space beside him lightly. Kakashi opened his eyes. The red one was glowing with eerie light that might seem frightening for those who didn't know him, but for Naruto, whom he had just met recently, the boy was just not frightened but also trusted him, even offering him to his share of that little bed that would surely be too small for two people while he could just have it for himself. It's all right. Don't worry about me. Just go back to sleep. The silver-haired man refused kindly. Besides, I'm the guard, remember? If the guard is asleep, he's not a good guard, right? It's okay now, I think. They won't come again tonight, said Naruto, again patting the space beside him. You should rest too. If the guard is too tired, how can he protect me? The boy asked back. And you look like you haven't had a good sleep for weeks. I don't want to drag your big body here, and they're just to avoid them, you know. And now I'm the one being worried about. The vampire hunter scratched the back of his head and sighed. Fine. I'm too lazy to discuss this with you till morning anyway. Yes, if he refused, he was sure the boy would just try to talk him in again and again, so having no choice, Kakashi moved into the offered space obediently. But you can keep the blanket. I'm not cold. Naruto smiled widely before closing his eyes once again. The warmth from the other made him feel utterly safe. For one who had always been on his own like him, this feeling might be foreign, yet it was not that bad. Yes, not bad at all. Kakashi turned his back on the boy as he lay. Naruto was right. It had been quite a long time since he last slept in a bed. He had wandered for so long, not staying in one place and constantly moving from place to place. It was tiring, yet it was the curse that he had decided for himself. The curse that couldn't be lifted. And the darker the night was, the closer he was to the other that he could hear his steady breath and the sound of heartbeat, the louder the scream in the back of his mind became. Kakashi closed his eyes, trying to ignore it as he prayed silently, to gods, to demons, whatever it was, that this night ended without anything happened. Golden sunlight peeked through the open window. Out there, the birds were chirping their song of the arrival of their beloved dawn with their little charming voices. The silver-haired man opened his eyes to the new day and yawned, stretching like a big gray cat that had just woken up from its sweet dream. But for this cat, could his dream be called sweet? Kakashi was about to get up when he felt something on his chest, something heavy and warm. Naruto stirred in his sleep, moving a little. The face of the boy when asleep looked even more childish than he normally was. It was so peaceful and content. Were Kakashi the big gray cat, then Naruto would be a small orange-furred kitty that was so happy snuggling close to its feline mother. Exactly. Kakashi thought of waking the blonde boy and getting up, yet changed his mind when he saw the look on the boy's face. He lay back down and gave a long sigh. If it's always like this, it won't be all that nice, thought the silver-haired man. Sunrise, sunset. Long, soft eyelashes fluttered faintly before magnificent ruby orbs were revealed once again from under those heavy lids that hid them from the bright, bright world. As if it was timed, the only world that those precious eyes could see was that of the darkness that lied there before them for eternity. Darkness and darkness alone. Large ebony window was securely locked, closing tightly, totally separating the inside dwellers from the outer, wider world. Unlike the previous night when it was fully open, letting the night wind carry the sweet melody of lust far, far away as if to compete with the chaste sound of the temple's golden bells. And what would it be like if the sleepers were to be awakened before the time that was rightly set? Blood-red orbs stared longingly at the shut window. Even lying so close to each other with those possessive arms of his brother protectively wrapped around him, he couldn't feel any warmth. It was so cold, just like death itself. Death? Thin lips stretched into a sarcastic smirk, while their owner's gaze wandered from the large ebony window across the ceiling and back down to lock on his brother's sculpted face. Under that naked flesh of well-toned chest, there was not even a single beat from the oh-so-still heart. His brother didn't even have the slightest sound of breathing. His brother when asleep was nothing different from a lifeless corpse. And he himself was nothing different. The only difference was their bodies that didn't rot, only their souls, their memories and their feelings that were still there. Yet those things, how long would it last when the cruelties of time and never-ending darkness were both waiting to swallow away their sanities? Sasuke lay still, gazing back at the window. How long had it been that he didn't wake up before the precious sun departed? Outside that window, even though unable to see the mesmerizing sight, unable to feel the last ray of sunlight grazing his skin, his instinct knew. He knew it clearly. There, outside that close window, the same old sun he had seen from long, long ago was setting at the horizon, painting the rosy evening with bewitching twilight. The beautiful picture, the so longed for picture. Nisan, what are you doing up here alone? A little boy crawled up the long, winding stairs to the top of the castle just to see his older brother sitting there on his own, watching the sun set. His older brother replied in a smooth voice, The younger boy stared at the setting sun at the far horizon for a while before turning to his brother, his brows knitting together into a frown. It's not that intriguing. His brother said nothing but raised his eyebrows a little. The little boy became mute for a long while as he found his seat next to his older brother, obsidian orbs looking ahead at the picture of the setting sun. It isn't that it isn't beautiful, Booty, think it's kind of sad looking. The setting sun that used to look sad, now it was sadder that it was not there to be seen anymore. So close that he could just reach out and open that one blocking window, yet all he could do was just lying there and let the sun leave without saying goodbye. The older boy smiled. A warm and gentle smile. Everything has the meaning in itself. Be it beautiful, ugly, happy or sad. Sunset, in other words, is the representative of death. Death, the younger one repeated, his cheerful childish voice softened as there was something to ponder. We, even now living, even now breathing, is currently dying, Sasuke. Every time, every minute, every second that has passed, it becomes past, and we can do nothing about it. It's nothing different to say that it has died. The same goes for the sun. Sun cetus like death of another day. If what his brother had said was really true, then know what the moment, they were still dying, weren't they? Dying every day but still living on in the next and next and next second, right? They could still be called living, right? I don't understand why you like to look at something so depressing, and I-san. If sunset means death, then the sun can be born again tomorrow. The little boy smiled happily as a thought occurred to him. Sunrise is also beautiful. Let's come watch it together tomorrow, any? Watching one's new life is a whole lot better than one's death. His brother didn't say a word but nodded, a smile gracing his lips, as he ruffled his younger sibling's raven hair. Watching one's new life is a whole lot better than one's death. Sasuke smirked bitterly at his own words of childishness. Now everything was the absolute opposite. Now, whenever he saw a birth of a new spirit, he felt like being torn apart with envy. Yet if it was the cry of the upcoming eternal slumber, it was like the soothing song that replenished his wounded spirit, the sinful soul that dwelled in the shadow of blood and darkness. The demon that had been deprived of the so longed for morning, golden sun and blue sky, just like that boy, the one he wouldn't let him slip. His blood boiled with excitement. His instinct told him that night had finally arrived and their time had come. Sasuke turned his gaze upon his sleeping brother for a brief moment. It wouldn't be long after this that his brother would wake up. This is the last time I let this slip. Sasuke closed his eyes. He could still remember how aggressive Itachi was the previous night. Yet I'm sorry, brother. As the whispery words left the younger vampire's lips, the figure of a teenage boy faded into thick golden mist, floating out of his older brother's strong arms, hovering up high toward the single ebony window. As if pushed by some invisible hands, the window swung open, allowing the golden mist to float out into the night air. The mist then took the shape of a large bat, flapping its velvety dark wings far, far away from the accursed castle. Black silk curtains waved and flapped as cool breeze entered the lightless chamber, blessing the moonlight pale skin with its tenderness. Blood-red orbs blazed like still flame in the obscurity, as the once corpse-like form moved. Those eyes narrowed dangerously as they traveled sharply toward the open window. You disobey my order again, Sasuke. Click. Kakashi loaded some small silver darts into that weird equipment that looked a lot like a gun of his before checking if his favorite weapon worked properly. Making sure that there was no problem, he resumed loading it with the rest of his darts, and went to do the same for the other same weapon. Wow! Kakashi-san! This is so cool! An enthusiastic voice rang from the blue-eyed blonde, the target of the vampires. Great! He doesn't aware of his situation even bit, does he? Kakashi thought, shaking his head. Naruto hummed softly in his throat as he ran around like a little kid to take a look of this and that with sheer interest. He had known from a book he once read before, yes, he could read, thought they used only garlic and cross and of course steaks. Those garlic are too old and hard like rocks. No doubt they hurt anyone they hit. Crack. Hey! What are you doing, Naruto? Do you want to destroy my equipment or something? Kakashi hurriedly put his precious weapon out of the boy's grab before he broke it. Naruto stared at his hands that were now empty, then at Kakashi's face, and next, a dry apologizing laughter escaped him. Hehehe. Sorry, Kakashi-san. I just thought of something annoying. Is that so? The silver-haired man's sweat dropped. Man, he almost really broke it, Kakashi-san. The man turned at the sound of his name. Let me help you. Two don't want to be just a burden to you. And in fact, they want me. Hey, what burden? Haven't I told you already that it's my job to protect you? Click. The vampire hunter, finishing loading his weapon, started to double-check. Brilliant cerulean orbs turned a shade slightly duller. The blond boy reached for the crystal-clear flask that contained what he thought was holy water in there. He started whirling the flask slowly. The water formed a mini vortex, as he looked into his distorted reflection there. Those people, they became innocent prey just because of me. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't have. Naruto trailed off. Naruto, if you're going to tell me to just stand back and let the other take responsibility. Naruto looked up, meeting the silver-haired man's gaze squarely. Blue eyes shone with strong determination. No way, I say. The two stared at each other with intensity for a while. The determination burning in the young blonde's eyes told Kakashi that he couldn't alter him. I may never ever be trained how to use guns or swords, but if it's street fighting, I say I never lose to anyone before. But if you're worried that I'll mess up with your things, just give me some new and fresh garlic. Kakashi looked at him, then shook his head. It seems I can never say no to you, he said half-heartedly before twirling one of his dart firers a few times and handed it to Naruto. It isn't that difficult to use, just a good aim and bang. The vampire hunter pointed a finger at his heart. There they go. A satisfied yet happy smile appeared on Naruto's lips as he took the weapon, mimicking Kakashi in his twirling motion before turning his back on the hunter and giggling to himself like a little kid being given his new toy. The silver-haired man gave a deep sigh, turning back to check on his equipments for the last time before the real show time came. Yet he spun back to the grinning boy once again as a wonder struck him. Why new and fresh garlic? Leaving so early like this, don't your master say anything against it? Kakashi asked, even though he had the answer in his mind, while Naruto shrugged. There's no problem since the last night event helps lessen tonight's customers, the boy said, taking off his jumper. Besides, he took the dart fire Kakashi gave him out of his old stitched bag and winked. I'm dying to try this. Now, that challenging tendency of yours. Kakashi stopped mid-sentence. His expression suddenly became serious as he pulled back his eye patch, uncovering that one demonic red eye that was so similar to that of those he hunted. Brace yourself. Here they come. Let's see if we can go back to have some nap before dawn. Their volume has increased every night. I've never seen such hunting trait before. What are you saying? I'm always ready, Naruto said, quickly aiming for the first vampire that turned up in his range. Bang! The first silver dart was fired out. Andes! It pierced straight through the vampire's heart, causing it to scream pathetically and fall to the ground, dead for real. How about that? Naruto was swelling with confidence as he went for his next target. And bang! The dart was fired. Whoosh! The silver dart penetrated the air, moving with faster-than-sound speed toward the second vampire. Get him! Butillas, the dart missed its target that zoomed toward them by an inch or two. The vampire opened its jaws, showing its sinister fangs as it neared the blonde's tan neck. Yet before it could sink its fangs into the flesh, Kakashi's silver sword had found its place through its chest. I told you this is not a game, Naruto. One mistake could mean death, Kakashi said as he shot another vampire down with the dart firer in his other arm. Go find some shelter, I'll take care of the rest. Are you telling me that the first one was a fluke, Kakashi-san? I won't let you have all the fun, Naruto protested, tightening his grip on his weapon. If given a chance, Uzumaki Naruto will never back down that easy. It was then that Kakashi started to worry about this bold aspect of the boy. And I thought he was a sweet little boy. You'd better listen to him. Blue eyes suddenly widened. This voice Naruto quickly turned toward its owner. That gave another vampire its opportunity. It didn't wait but dashed at the blonde boy with its full speed. Bang! You're really that clumsy, aren't you, Naruto? Naruto spun back to see the opportunist scream in pain as it fell with a silver dart embedded in its bosom. The silver dart from his dart firer, to be exact. The pale hand that held his weapon-gripping hand was as cold as ice. Your punch may be heavy, but your skill with guns still has much to improve. Let me show you. It was now certain that this raven-haired less than a stranger, who was currently holding his hand and shooting down those creatures with frightening accuracy, was a vampiria walking corpse like those he was killing. Why does he? Even that slender finger that touched his when pulling the trigger held no warmth. Only coldness of the death. Yes, this boy was a vampire. Then why? As if sensing Naruto's curiosity, Sasuke leaned in to whisper in the shorter boy's ear. I told you that you're my prey. I won't let anyone take you. Naruto tried to restrain himself from shuddering at the velvety voice that was carried along with the puff of breath that tickled his flesh. Even knowing it so clearly that this raven-haired boy was a vampire, but didn't know why. It felt strangely warm and secured for all of a sudden. Screech! Another vampire screeched painfully as the silver dart pierced through its unbeating heart. The dark-colored sky was now shrouded with even darker curtains of blacker-than-night wings of the forsaken children that flew above them in a circle, waiting for the right time to strike at their one and only target without fearing their real eternal slumber even bit. Waiting and waiting they wait. The number doubled, for they knew that their prey would be exhausted eventually. They screeched their ear-splitting sound. The sound that almost made Naruto's blood turn to ice. Yet if that ice meant that cold slender hand that was now covering his, a blonde boy was ready to fight the blizzard storm with this only ice that kept him warm instead of frozen. Strong arm encircled around his waist loosely. Stay focused. I can't always save you and your clumsy ass like this, you know. The words suddenly woke Naruto up, and he wouldn't let the insult slip that easily if it wasn't for their dangerous circumstance. Instead, the blonde boy kept his mouth zipped as he watched another vampire be shot down with another silver dart. The vampire's shooting game went on without much difficulty for the vampire hunter, prey, and the betrayer. More and more vampires were killed until, click, click, cerulean eyes widened. Kakashi-san! I'm out of the dart! Naruto yelled in alarm as one of the soaring creatures swooped down upon him, seeing that he was out of weapon. Naruto! Kakashi was going to help the boy but was stopped by an annoying flock of slave bats. Shit! Sasuke scowled in annoyance before throwing the now useless dart firer. Tightening his grip around the blonde bartender's waist, he quickly pulled Naruto to another side. And just the moment the creature was about to fly past them, Naruto saw it. Those obsidian eyes, they were turning to the shade of blood. The thump. The thump. The thump. His heart started beating faster. My job is to hunt down vampires. Every of them. Vampires are the form of lives, if we could still call them that shouldn't exist in this world. They must all be eliminated. The thump. The thump. The thump. Naruto glanced at the silver-haired man who was fending off the vampire bats, then at the red eyes of the dark-haired boy in front of him, and his extending claw. They must all be eliminated. Be eliminated. Eliminated. No! You can't! Blood-red eyes widened in surprise as the other boy suddenly jumped at him, promptly capturing his wrist in a dead grip. The impact caused Sasuke to fall down with the blonde boy on top of him, still clutching his wrist fast. That gave the creature its perfect opportunity. What do you think you're doing? Sasuke hissed in a low voice. Hell, does he want to commit suicide? Kakashi was finally be able to get rid of the slave bats, and didn't wait to run toward the two boys for the rescue with a long, silver sword armed in his hand, for there was no more of the dart left. This was, so far, the hardest battle the hunter had ever experienced. Screech! The creature was getting nearer and nearer. Shit! Let me make it in time. Kakashi prayed as he threw his sword at the creature, hoping that his sword was fast enough. The silver sword flew through the air while the vampire was drawing nearer and nearer. Sasuke pushed Naruto away and pulled his wrist free. Blood-red eyes were blazing with murderous flame. Naruto tried desperately to pull him back by his sleeve back. His effort was in vain. Deepest despair came over his usually bright mind in a hazy fog. Kakashi's sword was too slow. It couldn't save them, it couldn't. But suddenly, the unholy slave of the night that was soaring high in the sky gave the highest screech ever before hurriedly flying away as if fleeing from something. The vampire that was near them stopped midway on hearing that blood-curdling noise. Just 1 millisecond and the result altered. Silver sword caught the moonlight in one brightest flash before piercing through the demon's heart. Black blood trickled, diminishing away the bright reflecting gleam of the sword as the walking corpse fell. Kakashi watched those vampires fly away in their haste for a while before walking over to pick up his sword from the fallen body and to check if it was really dead. You're wasting your time. That thing is dead for real. The silver-haired vampire hunter turned to see the speaker now standing, rearranging his disheveled shirt thanks to Naruto's madly pulling and yanking. The hunter gave the raven-haired boy a questioning look, but the boy just shrugged and kicked the fallen vampire to show him it was really at peace. You, Kakashi began as his curious gaze met the boy's indifferent one. Even with seeing his unusual red eyes, this boy still looked unfazed. And his skin, it was pale, too pale, as if it belonged to a sick man. No, Kakashi's eyes narrowed. Pale as if it doesn't belong to a human. Yet his instinct detected nothing wrong about this strangely beautiful boy. It was just his extraordinary look that caught his eyes more than anything. Too extraordinary. If it isn't this boy, then those vampires, what were they fleeing from? Yet before Kakashi could say anything, Naruto spoke up. Kakashi-san, this guy's a friend of mine. The other two's gazes turned to fix on the young bartender, and the moment Naruto saw that the raven-haired boy's eyes were now black, he mentally sighed in relief. But when he met Kakashi's questioning gaze, his mind was starting to get frantic. Well, what should he say? Saying that this guy was his friend, but he didn't even know his name yet. His name is Sasuke. The raven-haired boy quickly cut in before Naruto could give him some stupid name, and shot him a sharp glance. Naruto, having caught the sign, quickly shifted into happy-go-lucky mode and placed an arm around his newly declared buddy's shoulder. Yeah, that's it, Kakashi-san. Even though this guy likes to act strange and pop out of nowhere without giving you a warning first, but he's a very good friend, you see. Sasuke couldn't help but smiled a little at how funny Naruto's actions were. He didn't know what the blonde think to immediately want to help him. It wasn't as if he couldn't go up against this hunter like those low-class walking corpses. Yet as obsidian orbs took in the sight of the cheekily grinning blonde, well, playing along isn't that bad, is it? Kakashi looked between the two best buddies for a while before his lips curved into an amused smile, his eyes forming into happy arcs. Right. If it wasn't for him, you would surely be as dead as those vampires. Hey! How could you say that? Didn't you say you're going to be my bodyguard? Naruto pointed a finger at him accusingly. If it wasn't for him, you'd fail your first mission. Kakashi looked thoughtful for a while, but then he replied with a casual wave of his hand. Ah well, but if you had done as I said, it wouldn't have been this difficult. But, I think he's right. Naruto abruptly spun around to give his friend the most vicious glare he could manage. Hey Sasuke, I think we need to talk. With that, he dragged the other boy away from Kakashi's earshot, but not without an apologetic smile to the said hunter. I tried to help you and you're saying that? Naruto pulled the taller boy down so that he could harshly whisper in his ear. Ungrateful bastard. If I knew you were to repay me like this, I'd say your names or something like that. Sasuke looked at the blonde boy in puzzlement. Naruto didn't seem to fear him anymore and even tried to threaten him with such idiotic nickname, but a frown made itself toward his pretty face. No way. And what will you? Sasuke stopped mid-sentence when he felt a certain gaze on him. The only gaze that could make shivers run down his spine. That gaze the raven-haired vampire turned slowly, feeling his throat suddenly go dry as his eyes met with another pair of blood-red orbs. What's the matter? Naruto asked, and as he followed Sasuke's gaze saw a giant black dog whose fur was the blackest shiny black and eyes as red as those vampires that were looking straight at them. It possessed such calmness and gracefulness that one would never found before in a normal canine. A cheeky smile then appeared on Naruto's lips. He elbowed his frozen raven-haired friend who was still staring at the dog without doing anything else in the ribs. You're afraid of a dog? How funny is that? You look as if you have seen a— He was about to say ghosts but reconsidered it as the boy with him here was also a dead man walking. An old hag in a drag. He finished and snapped his fingers. Come here, doggy. Come here. But the large canine just stood there unmoving, staring at them in earnest silence. Che! I've never met such an arrogant dog. He's just like you, Sasuke. Naruto grumbled, and paying the black dog no more heed, he grabbed the cold hand of Sasuke and dragged him toward where Kakashi was waiting. You Sasuke-kun, right? Kakashi inhaled deeply. In his hand, the broken dart firer could be seen in all its battered glory thanks to Sasuke, who threw it away in such a force in the earlier incident that it couldn't be of any use anymore. Kakashi smiled, but it was that kind of smile that gave Naruto chills instead of the one it was directed toward. Now that you have taken a part in this, I don't think I could let you go home easily. I reckon we have a talk first. The raven-haired boy was still quiet, as if he was busying thinking about something, so Naruto shoved him again in the ribs his elbow. He's talking to you. Sasuke glared darkly at the blonde but still didn't say anything. Naruto sighed. He was afraid of a dog. He still is. A dog? Kakashi asked, not sure if he had heard it right. Let's forget that. So I say tonight my room has one more guest. A little bit narrower, but I hope it's okay with you, Naruto said before dragging Sasuke along with them to the said room. The giant black dog watched the three figures disappear at the corner of the street. Its demonic red eyes were blazing like dancing flame as it slowly walked along the quiet street. Yes, I told you to fix it, Kakashi demanded with his face still smiling oh so friendlily, and Naruto couldn't be even more pleased as he watched the proud vampire be helplessly forced to fix the equipment he had broken. Sasuke picked the thing up and examined it, turning it this side and that before giving Kakashi a frown and Naruto a glare. I don't think it needs any repairing. What? It's broken. Just the look of it, and you can tell already. There's no way in trying to talk the way out. Naruto threw a pillow at Sasuke, who easily dodged. The pillow hit the wall with a loud thud. And that's because of whom? The dark-haired vampire gave the young bartender a look. I didn't say it isn't broken. I mean, if it's this broken, why don't you buy a new one? Kakashi's smile grew even wider before he crooned happily. This thing isn't for sale. You'll have to fix it only, Sasuke-kun. Sasuke looked at the two beings in the room before shaking his head in disbelief. He, the great vampire, had been forced to do a stupid chore like this. How humiliated! He bit his lips and began to fix the thing as he had been generously assigned. 10 minutes later, done, Sasuke said with a hint of a grunt in his voice. Are you satisfied? Kakashi took the newly fixed dart firer from the boy and just the first sight of it. Wait, Sasuke-kun. What's this? The hunter raised the fixed equipment up to let everyone see clearly. And suddenly, Naruto was on the floor, rolling with an outburst of unstoppable laughter at the sight of the dart firer that looked like it had been stomped on by a horde of wildly running horses. Then properly fixed, Sasuke feigned indifferent. You didn't say how to fix it. And yet before Kakashi could put the blame on the unfortunate vampire, there was a knock at the door. Knock. 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 Naruto stood up. I'll open it. Creak. As soon as the doorknob was turned and the old door creaked open, chilling night wind suddenly blew into the rent room along with an uninvited guest, the enormous black dog whose eyes were as red as fresh human blood. Thanks for watching this video. You really enjoy this video. Like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification. Don't forget to support and follow Chasir Cat for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story, link in the description. See you in the next video. Goodbye.